Hello everyone and welcome to Music Hacks with Meg. My name is Megan Rogerson-Berry and today we're going to be talking about 6 simple steps for creating song demos in Logic Pro. So hold on to your seats, here we go. Step number 1 for creating song demos with Logic Pro is finding the right tempo. A lot of people mess around with tempo a lot, okay, and it wastes a lot of time. So what we want to do is we want to open up our internet browser, Google or whatever it is, type in tap tempo, okay? Click on the first website that comes up. It's a simple interface and all you have to do is sing your song along and hit the space bar while you sing it and it will tell you what your tempo is. After you've done that, just go back into Logic, type in the tempo and you're ready to go. Okay, so that's step number 1. Step number 2, we need a scratch track. A scratch track is it's exactly that. It's something that you're going to throw away later, but it's a useful guide to your form and structure of your song while you're building layers in your Logic session. So what you need to do is you need to create a new audio track, set up one microphone with your voice and your guitar or your voice and your piano or whatever it is, and basically you just use one microphone to capture the audio, record that, make sure it's in time, your whole song, and you've got the whole form and structure of your piece now. Doesn't matter if it's in tune or not, but it does need to be in time, okay? So just make sure that that's what's happening when you record yourself a scratch track. After you've done that, step number 3 would be to add a drummer track in your Logic session. Before I add a drummer track, usually what I'll do is I'll use the arrangement markers in the timeline of my Logic edit window to add where the sections are in my song. So just click the plus button next to the arrangement markers and you can add an intro that usually Logic defaults to 8 bars. So if your intro is 4 bars, just drag it to 4 bars and then you hit the plus button again and Logic will add a verse section. If yours is not a verse section, you just need to change it to chorus or whatever. And again, defaults to 8 bars. So if it's longer or shorter, just stretch it out. And then just keep adding arrangement markers until you've sort of laid out the structure of your song. After you've done that, go in and add the drummer track. Logic allows you to choose which genre your drummer is going to be playing in, so make sure that you sort of choose the genre that's closest to what you're trying to achieve. I usually spend a little bit of time tweaking just to make sure that the flow and the groove is correct for what I'm trying to do with my song demo. Because you've added the arrangement markers, what's going to happen is your drummer track is going to be quieter in the intro and in the verses and then get louder in the chorus and more complex. So Logic's kind of intelligently decided that that's how the flow of your song is going to go. You can always tweak this later on, but I find it's a good handy way to just make sure that I don't have to think that much about drums. Why I put the drummer track in is because I don't actually like recording to a metronome. I feel it's easy for me to lose time and it feels a bit robotic, whereas if I have a drummer track that's kind of got the groove and the flow of the song, I can keep in time to the drummer and still ensure that I'm keeping in tempo, okay, without having to feel a bit robotic about it. Okay, so that's why it's important that the drummer track is kind of in the right groove and the flow, because you can be playing along to it later on, and also that it's the right tempo. Okay, after we've added the drummer track, step number 4 is to add your vocal and chord layers. Okay, so this is where we're going to do a clean take of your vocal and a clean take of your guitar or your piano. All right. I usually like to start with the chordal instrument, so I usually have guitar in my demos. So I'll set up a new audio track and I will record guitar along to my scratch track and my drummer track. This is why it's important that your scratch track and your drummer track are in time and in the right groove, because this is your final chordal recording. So for me, it's guitar. I'll take a lot of time to make sure that this is right, okay? So that might involve multiple takes of doing the whole song, or I might do each section multiple times and then comp it together. If you don't know what comping is, don't worry, I'm going to do a video on it in a little while. Okay, but just take the time to make sure that your guitar track is right. Okay, after that I'll go and do vocals, and again I'll spend a lot of time making sure that I've got everything right for the vocal. Step number 5 for creating a song demo in Logic is to then add layers. Once you've got all the basics down, start being expressive, start being creative. Remember that the aim of a song demo is always to number 1, have something to show your band members or to get people to have a listen to, but number 2, importantly, it's for you to explore what your vision for the song is, okay? Because the idea is that you're taking this song demo and you're going, okay, this is my vision, let's go and do this for real in the studio, let's go and make a proper recording of this. So spend some time building up layers. It might be a bass part, it might be some synths, some strings, some horns, and also importantly backing vocals. You might want to have multiple guitar parts as well, so spend some time just building up your layers and working out the arrangement of the song. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because this is a demo, but what you really want to do is you really want to show your vision. After you've done that, step number 6 is to do some basic mixing. This is where a lot of us songwriters might get a little bit like, ooh, mixing, that's producer's job, no. But we can do it, it's okay. I like to think of 3 elements to a basic mix, okay? So this is not complicated, this is a basic mix. Number 1, I always EQ just about everything in my recording. So EQ is a way for us to filter out frequencies that we don't like and to boost frequencies that we do like. Okay, so each track, obviously sound operates as frequencies. We can mess with those frequencies to shape the sound. So my voice, for example, can tend to sound a little bit nasally. So what I want to do is after I've done the recording, I'll go into the EQ and I kind of cut out a bit. I try and find the nasal part, and I try and cut that out a little bit. And often I'll give myself a little bit of a boost in the higher frequencies where there's a bit of presence, okay, because that will tend to mask any nasal sounds. So I just spend a little bit of time sort of playing around, trying to get my voice in its raw state to sound how I like it to sound. A general rule of thumb for EQ is to always cut before you boost, okay? So if, for example, my voice is nasally, I'm gonna cut things out, I'm gonna cut my frequencies out before I try and boost them. Because what it enables me to do is, it enables me to just carve a hole that means that other frequencies might be able to shine through, okay? And we wanna do that before we go just boosting everything, because then we've just made a mess. Okay, so cut before you boost with EQ. The second thing I like to think about when it comes to a mix is compression. Again, I compress almost everything in my recordings. And compression's a bit of a tricky tool to get your head around initially, but I like to think of it as audio sandpaper, okay? So the idea is that everything that we record, there's little spikes and waves in the audio waveform that we've recorded. And what compression does is it sort of allows us to round off the edges. So any of those spikes, we can kind of sand them down, make them a bit smoother. And what that enables us to do is it enables us to actually increase the sound or the volume of that track without there being any peaking. Okay, because peaking creates distortion and that sounds unprofessional, so we don't want that. Start with some presets with compression and just use your ears to sort of figure out what's working and what's not. Be wary of over compressing, unless that's what you're going for. A lot of music these days, a lot of pop music is over compressed on purpose. But we just need a light touch really for most of what we're doing. We just want to round it off a little bit so that we can then increase the volume a little bit. And the third thing that I think about when it comes to mixing is then the levels. So usually what I will do is I will bring all of my levels down to 0 on my mixing window, and then I'll start pushing up my levels one by one and trying to shape the levels around each other so that I get a nice sonic picture and there's not anything kind of standing out more than it should. Okay, after that, I think, you know, reverbs as well are handy. You can start by using some presets and plugins, and Logic Space Designer for me is the best one. And a rule of thumb with reverb is always to just turn the reverb up just until you can hear it, and then turn it down a little bit. Okay, so easy does it on the reverb. We don't want 80s reverb drowning out our tracks here, unless that's what you're going for, in which case go for it. But generally just reverb up until you can just hear it, and then down a little bit, and that'll be plenty for you for your track. Okay, so that's the 6th step, mixing. After that, just a bounce and you're done. Okay, so that was 6 simple steps for making song demos in Logic. Number 1, find your tempo using a tap tempo website. Number 2, make yourself a scratch track. Number 3, make a drummer track after you've put in arrangement markers. Number 4, add your clean vocal and chordal layers. Number 5, add other layers, synth layers and such. And number 6, do a basic mix. And hopefully that will enable you to quickly and efficiently sketch out your vision for your song so you can go forth and make hits. I hope that was helpful. If it was, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit subscribe. Questions, comments, or insults, please in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video. This was Music Hacks with Meg, and remember, work smart, not hard.